is a real pleasure to officially open today with you the Ohana Floor at this ribbon cutting ceremony this morning. I understand, as Jane Ann said, that Ohana is the Hawaiian word for family, as you've heard. And this is fitting for the positive intention that Salesforce Jane Ann has for this space. But it also couldn't be more fitting, given the events of the last week in our great city, and how we've seen Londoners refuse to be divided and pulled together as one family. And I think over the course of the last week, we've seen, yes, of course, one example of the worst of humanity, but we've seen Londoners demonstrate the very best of humanity, being a ohana, or a family. Look, when I stood for election, I pledged to be the most pro-business mayor London had ever seen. And since taking office in 2016, despite the difficult backdrop of Brexit, we've been working tirelessly to deliver on that promise. And I'm really pleased my Deputy Mayor Rajesh is here as well this morning. Ultimately, our ambition is to help create an economy that works for all Londoners, an economy where businesses are given the support they need, of course, an economy that gives Londoners that helping hand, and an economy where neither opportunity nor achievement are limited by gender, by race, by sexuality, by disability, by religion, or by your background. I'm not going to quote an American president. I'm not a big fan of the current one, I should hasten to add. I'm not going to quote a former president, Barack Obama, as well. I'm going to quote a former British Prime Minister, Gordon Brown. And Gordon once said, "The good economy and the good society advance together." And I couldn't agree more. I've always believed that it's a myth that the goals of growing the economy, supporting businesses, and standing up for workers and reducing inequality are in conflict. Indeed, when it comes to addressing many of the big challenges we face today, from tackling the climate emergency to forging a fairer society, London's business community must be viewed not as an adversary, but an ally in achieving our shared goals. By the same token, I believe it's a myth that big businesses only care about what's in their bottom line. Yet the reality is we're living in an era when trust in big business institutions, just like trust in our political institutions, is extremely low. And that's why it's so good, it is so good to see a global technology company like Salesforce recognizing its place and responsibility to the wider community. Businesses like Salesforce have shown the way. They're clearly moving beyond the simple motive of shareholder profit, important though that is, and recognizing that they have a social purpose too, to support their employees the best way they can, to support local communities, to support the environment, and ultimately to do good in the world. Steps like opening the Ohana Floor and all the other great educational and charity work undertaken by Salesforce help to eradicate the trust deficit between the public and large businesses that has been established in recent years, I'm afraid to say. And I'd urge other businesses in London and across the country, and indeed across the globe, to follow your example and adopt these far-sighted and progressive principles. It's also, by the way, great that Salesforce is joining our movement to make London not just the best city in the world to do business, but the best city in the world to work. And there's a difference. I know that Salesforce has received awards and recognition as an exemplary employer, both in the UK and internationally. I was told on the way in, this includes being listed in the Fortune 500 Best 100 Companies to Work 15 years in a row. 15 years in a row. But that's just a prelude. I know it's impressive, and it really is impressive. That's a prelude to what really matters. And I'm delighted that Salesforce has now been accredited by City Hall as a good work standard employer. And that's the real prize. Fortune 500, top 100 companies in the world. Pah. Look, so I'm delighted to be presenting shortly Dame Jane Ann with this plaque shortly, which recognises Salesforce's accreditation as one of the first Good Work Standard employers in London. On behalf of our city, I want to commend you for doing the right thing by your employees, but also for our communities and our city. I wish Salesforce and Ohana all the best of luck in the future. Jane Ann, thank you for what you're doing for our city. Thank you for in the first 9 weeks of your start at Salesforce. I look forward to working with you for many, many years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Sadiq Khan.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
4, 3, 2, 1. I declare the floor open. So thank you very much indeed, everyone. And thank you all very much indeed. The floor is now open. We welcome everyone to it.